Glaze, you have the floor on the aftermath of Super Bowl 49. Are the Seahawks coaching staff?
How are you, buddy?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
You're as tired as I am?
It's all good, though, man. I mean, what for people like us in our business, this is the greatest thing. The Super Bowl 49 finish is going to be something to be discussed for decades, and here we are in the first blush moments of it. Is Darrell Bevell going to get buried in this thing, do you think, Jay?
Yeah, I think you will, obviously. I mean, you know what? Sometimes people just outthink themselves in this league, and that's what happened. And every time I've talked to somebody in Seattle, I know what they're saying publicly, but they're still kind of shaking their heads like, well, what were we doing? No one gets it. And sometimes in this league, I mean, Rich, you've been around it a lot. They try to outcoach you so much they overcoach, and unfortunately, this just happened in the worst moment.
Well, do you think Pete will have to go in a different direction on offense because of how many people saw this and how many people have been questioning it, regardless of how well they might have played the game, and Darrell Bevell being a highly respected coach, Jim Mora pounded the table for him on yesterday's program. Do you think this might even result in a change eventually in Seattle?
Well, first of all, there's really not a lot of offensive coaches out there. This offseason, when teams were looking for offensive coordinators, man, you couldn't find anybody. Defensive coaches, there's plenty of them. I mean, you got guys who are on the street still looking for jobs, and offensive coaches, they just could not find anybody. So that works against that. The only other thing I'll tell you is that, well, you got to kind of stick with your guys in good times and bad. I think that's kind of Pete Carroll's whole thing. But you also have to somehow, some way, get players in that locker room and other coaches to almost accept them, almost get over the hurt and the pain and the resentment, because that could certainly damage a place. And look, he's done a very good job this year. And as hard as it is to get over one play, you have to look at his body of work. You can't judge him by the one play.
Now, when you said you called and spoke to people in Seattle, Jay Glazer, I mean, are you talking about players who are wondering what in the world is happening?
Yeah, many throughout the entire organization. There's still people just shaking. A ton of people still shaking their heads, just like what? I mean, they're shaking their heads the same way we are.
Also that week, we saw Peyton Manning for the first time. Yep. What do you think his future is, Glaze, and when we might hear about it?
You know, I've talked to him about it a bunch, and look, he's already starting to work out again. But the one thing I've said to him, he's getting advice from everybody. I mean, we had a dinner at Steak 44 there one night, and
nice.
I was with my little crew with Strahan and Gonzalez, those guys, and then Peyton came in with Archie, and they're over there. So, of course, Michael took him aside, talked to him. Tony took him aside, talked to him. I had already talked to him on the phone previously, and, every one of us, everybody who's talked to, I think has had the same thing as, dude, this is your decision of your timeline. Nobody else's but you. Don't worry about when we want it. Don't worry about when everybody else wants to hear something. You make the decision when you realize it. And the story I told him, and then Tony followed up on, was after the NFC Championship game 2 years ago. I was having dinner with Gonzalez, and he's like, man, I'm done. Can't wait to get on with my life now, and can't wait to get into TV and go, interview with you guys, interview with CBS, I'm just looking forward to it and being a dad again. And I'm telling you, it was about 3.5 months later, I'm out one night, and I get a phone call from him saying, hey, you think Smitty and Thomas will ever consider having me back? I'm like, are you serious, dude? He's like, and I said, what happened to you saying goodbye to every stadium, that you were playing in this year? He goes, man, I thought I could leave. I just can't yet. And, he had a very productive year last year. The point is until you know, okay, don't make a decision. And, for some of these guys, you don't know how hard this is saying you've done one thing you've loved your entire life since you were, let's say, 6, 7 years old, right? Mm-hmm. Every single year of your life, you have done just this. You've played football. You love it. And, oh, by the way, tomorrow now you make a decision. It is over forever. It's done. You'll never do it again. That is difficult, man. That's a hard thing for a guy like Peyton.
Yep.
That is very difficult.
Glaze, you take care of yourself. Let's chat down the line real quick, okay?
Pleasure, homie.
Same to you. It's Jay Glazer, at Jay Glazer on Twitter.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.